What am I going to do here, guys, to kick things off? I want to give you just a quick background on Amazon with what's going on at the moment. And I'll give you a couple of very high-level concepts that you need to understand as we push into the day. The thing that makes Amazon so exciting for people globally is that not only is Amazon one of the five most valuable companies in the world, they've absolutely dominated online selling, as you're going to see in a moment, but they have a program called FBA, which means Fulfilled by Amazon. And that's the piece that you really need to understand so that you understand why we're so excited about it. It means that we can get a product made anywhere in the world. For example, something like this coffee cup, just by way of a simple example. And you could get this made somewhere in China or Taiwan or even Australia, whatever. Get the cup made, and then you can decide, once you have a supplier, where you'd like to sell it, because Amazon is a global business. Now, obviously in America, that is the most established and the largest market for Amazon. They absolutely love Amazon over there. So there's 320 million consumers there. You can have it shipped from wherever it's made directly into an Amazon fulfillment center in any market you want to access. So if you want to sell to Japan, 120 million people, just send it into Japan. Amazon will even translate the listing for you, and you can sell to the Japanese. You want to sell to Americans, you send it from wherever it's made to America. So if you're living in Australia, or in particular New Zealand, where you have a very small population, it means that the whole world is open to you. And this is why the numbers you're going to see today are so extraordinary, because you can sell to these massive markets. It doesn't matter where you are at all, because whoever's making the product for you, all you have to do is change the sticker address of where you're shipping the product, and then it goes to whatever market you want it to go to. So most of our students do sell into the American market first, or the European markets first, because the European markets, the UK, Italy, Spain, Germany, and France combined, equal the same as America, and it's less competitive, and it's an equally big market. So there's huge opportunities globally, and you don't need to sell a lot of products, you just need to sell the right product, a good product, to a global audience, and you can do really, really well. So Amazon FBA is what sits at the heart of everything that we'll be talking about today. But just to bring you up to speed, I'm just going to jump through a few quick slides here to answer some of those high-level questions for you, and just sort of position your brain for what's to come when we start diving into how to find products, which is going to be a strong theme today, that are profitable, that are under the radar, that are lower competition. But before we get there, we just need to lay a little bit of groundwork. So welcome to this part of the show. The first slide that I wanted to cover with you, this is a story that was in the Australian Financial Review, January 18, 2021. And it's a great story about a fella here. It says here, a Sydney-based carpenter, marine geographer, and now businessman Ricky Gilby has turned his love of the environment into this fun product with a great backstory that enables people to save the ocean one wave at a time, and is now selling his hand planes to people across the world through online retailer Amazon. And then here's another little soundbite from that same article. Amazon helps startups and entrepreneurs bring innovative products to local customers who are looking for unique items with a homegrown twist. Thanks to Amazon's marketing capabilities, Gilby's Amazon sales through 20 and 2021 festive season have been doubling every week, helping to turn his great idea into a legitimate domestic and global business. And that's just a really high-level snapshot of an Australian entrepreneur that is leveraging the power of Amazon. What's unique about those hand fins is that they're made of recycled plastic from the ocean, so it's doing good for the environment. It's an innovation that he's created, and he's obviously doing very, very well. But now he can distribute it from the shores of Bondi Beach, where that photo was taken, to anywhere in the world, which is just so exciting. Now, this report, it's called Market Pulse. I'm going to show you a few stats here. This is the industry-leading sort of source of truth of what's happening in the online marketplace world, whether it be eBay, Amazon, Walmart, etc. Now, this first quote is from this report. This is the CFO, Chief Financial Officer of Amazon. It says, "We ran out of room. In 2020, we almost doubled our fulfillment center capacity, and we added 23,000 new employees, and we still couldn't keep up." Just think about that for a moment. Take pause and realize that Amazon is a 25-year-old company that last year added 500,000 nearly employees and doubled the amount of warehouse space they have in 1 year, and they still couldn't keep up with the demand of online. Now, obviously, that is because of massive changes in the world, and the way people buying have migrated online. But this migration has accelerated e-commerce by about 10 years. So the amount of growth that was seen in the first quarter of 2020 equals 10 years of what the growth pattern was, which was already strong from brick and mortar retail to online. But in the first quarter of last year, we saw 10 years of growth in 3 months. So your decision to be here today and think about moving into the online world is perfect, because we've now seen this mass migration which will stay. It may not stay at the exact level it's at, but so many of these shoppers who've now shopped online for the first time will be here to stay. What's really interesting is this slide here shows you from 2018, 2019, 2020, the split between products sold by Amazon on Amazon's website, which is in the grey, and in the purple or the blue is the products sold by third-party sellers. So when you go to Amazon, there are two types of sellers. There's Amazon selling their own stuff, and then there's people like me and Angela and our students, which are represented in the purple. As you can see, Amazon's revenue last year from their marketplace was $475 billion, and the amount that was sold by third-party sellers has been increasing steadily over Amazon. In other words, third-party sellers are outselling Amazon themselves, now to the tune of $295 billion a year being generated by private individuals selling products on Amazon. This is an interesting chart that shows just the growth of the third-party seller business. This is people, not Amazon, this is the collective sales of private individuals selling on Amazon from 2001, 2002, all the way through to 2020. That is amazing. Just to give you an idea of Amazon's growth last year, Amazon grew by the entire revenue of eBay, which is their second competitor. So just think about that. Their growth, not their revenue, just the amount they grew by was eBay's entire turnover, which shows you how much of a gorilla they are in this jungle. This one here says here the overall Amazon marketplace gross market volume, GMV, as the overall GMV expands, top sellers represent a shrinking percentage. More of the sales come from a broader set of sellers than the top sellers outpacing the rest. What this stat is saying from this Market Pulse report, which comes out once a year, is that it's becoming a democratized marketplace. It's more and more becoming a shared revenue stream. So out of that $275 billion in sales, it used to be the case where the top sellers dominated, but now it's much more a case of smaller sellers, lots of smaller sellers making $10,000 or $20,000 a month, as opposed to a concentration of success towards the top, which is super, super encouraging. This is another stat that I pulled from the report. It says the data shows that the marketplace is not saturated because new sellers are finding opportunities to grow. Thus, by reason, they are not the same as the existing sellers and are selling in different niches. So this is really important, because one of the things we get asked the most is it saturated? Is it too late? And the data, Market Pulse is not paid for by Amazon, they're an independent body, is saying the data is revealing that it is not a saturated marketplace even now. And here's the number that you need to keep in mind, guys, that online retail still accounts for 20%, less than 20% of all retail. So it's growing, growing, growing. It's still got a long, long way to go as it relates to the greater retail market. This is another interesting stat. For the first time ever, Amazon's marketplace business, which is where we sell our products, became their fastest growing business unit. Advertising, which was their fastest growing unit, is now number 2. So if you're looking at joining Amazon, now's the time to do it. Another interesting stat from the report was that last year, banks and venture capital firms and so on, raised $1 billion, was raised specifically to acquire Amazon businesses. So now there is institutional money looking to buy Amazon businesses from private label sellers like myself, like Angela, and others around the world, because big money has now realized that these small businesses grow really, really well on Amazon, and they look to take out successful brands, apply capital, and scale them globally through the Amazon ecosystem, which is also really good if you're watching this today and you're thinking, I'd love to pay my house off, I'd like to get a few $1 million under my belt to really create financial freedom. there is a marketplace of money that is now mandated. Literally, they are mandated, obligated to invest in buying Amazon businesses, mostly off third-party sellers. The key, this one here says, the types of companies that those firms are looking to acquire are most often private label sellers that use Amazon as one of their primary sources of distribution. Some are also looking for brands using Shopify. Now, I just want to change gears here, and just because I know we've got a lot of Australians on, show the growth of Amazon in Australia. So this is a map that shows the number of searches or hits to amazon.com.au here in Australia. You can see where they went live. Look at the growth over the first 3 years of Amazon Australia, and look at the sales. So in the first year, 14 million in sales. In the second year in Amazon Australia, they did 292 million. And the last year, 2019, that's been reported, they did 562 million. I don't know what 2020 numbers are. They have not been published yet, but I'm guessing it's probably $1 billion business today. Now, if you live in Australia or New Zealand, when was the last time you saw a business launch and within 4 years go from zero to $1 billion a year in revenue? Think about that. That is an incredible growth rate. Now, the reason I'm showing you all this, guys, is because when you get into business, business is always hard, it's always tricky, but one of the most important things to make sure that you do is get into something at the right time where there is momentum. Because if you get into a business at the right time where there is momentum, it's just going to make your job easier. It doesn't matter how smart you are or how hard you work if you're doing the wrong thing at the wrong time. Whereas somebody who is maybe not superb and not a superstar can do quite well if they're in the right thing at the right time, especially if they've got the right education to go along with it as well. Hey guys, if you enjoyed that video, make sure you hit subscribe as well as the little bell that's sitting around here so that you get notified when we drop any new videos. Thanks for watching, hit the subscribe and the bell.